Mm.
Is getting that was 100 odd thousand guaranteed every week, and now since
Yeah.
slipping depending on what figures you believe. But
Well,
that's
I think
wanted.
we're living in the era of the subculture as well, in the sense where like anything nerdy, anything niche
Wow,
is now cool, is now interesting, and is now gaining money because
that's
everything has
fascinating.
a certain economy to it.
But
And
there's
I
not.
think once you have some fucking sociopath at the top of it that's able to make it profitable, then it takes the capitalism box.
I
It'll
mean,
still be
yeah.
successful, you know?
Well, that's yeah, it's fascinating that yeah, the idea of because everything is so into like I mean, you can literally go on like if we were to do you Reddit? Do,
Ish.
yeah,
I don't jump into it head on now, but
the
not
stuff
really,
like the stuff that I look at has nothing to do with the stuff that you look at. I'm sure there's a little bit of crossover in some of the stuff we
oh
do,
yeah.
but you can really figure out a person very quickly by what's on their time. Our fucking
Yeah.
timelines are our own fucking broadcasting system at all times.
Yeah, yeah.
Sure, look what we're making, but you can see where due to the interconnectivity of the internet and due to like I know like minds who live
Mhm.
elsewhere. Whereas
Yeah.
before you were only stuck with what was on at 7 o'clock on Channel 4.
Mhm.
And you would be lucky if it was any good. Not a lot of people would ever talk to me about Black Books.
Yeah.
I adore Black Book. Black Book is one of my favorite comedies. I
Mm.
fucking adore it.
Great
Um,
comedy, yeah.
it just hits on so many levels for me in terms of production and writing and acting and performing, everything. He played the piano with spoons, need I say more? Um, I fucking adored like Dylan
Where's my
Moore.
lolly?
But there's not many comedians I've seen multiple times, and I've seen Dylan Moore and Bill Bailey multiple times because I just
Yeah.
fucking adore them.
Mm.
Um, and the two of them never should the two meet, and yet
But
they
that's what
do.
makes it work. That's what makes it
And
work.
it's fucking great. In the
Yeah.
weirdest way, it's and unfortunately he has the Lenihan tie.
Winner, yeah,
Um,
to it, yeah.
he does he has this and with IT crowd and with Father Ted, there is something about chalk and cheese characters
Yeah.
bouncing off each other, and you never get that with American stuff. And the only first example I can think of is Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Odd couple.
Uh, I mean, that was for yeah,
But again, that's because of the formula. Like that's the thing. Like but like you know, I wouldn't say like you wouldn't say that like people things shows like Father Ted would have got an odd couple of energy from it, because realistically they would have got that energy from Morecambe and Wise more than anything else.
yeah,
Like especially Father Ted, the whole like dude like the Dougal and like Ted like in the same sharing the same bedroom is
like,
straight out of Morecambe and Wise sharing the same bed,
but like the
and that's
way
only to make it look weird. Like it's to
like if
throw
it
off the
was
audience.
if Father Ted was in America, Ted would have punched Dougal more.
Yeah.
Shut up. It would have been a lot,
Well, yeah.
you know. Although, the murky depths of the Catholic Church, um,
Hmm.
shall we not fucking depress
Shall we dive
ourselves?
in together, shall we?
I'd much rather be Matt Murdock standing outside listening to the fucking prayers. Thanks very much.
But
Although, I think,
if you do want a comparison though between the two, like you always compare it with like how the adaptations go. So like
yeah,
the like Sanford and Son was an American version of Steptoe and Son. Both perfectly valid like shows for very different reasons. So the Sanford and Son, yeah, there's a kind of like socioeconomic reason for it or like commentary on it, and the again, I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on like how important it is to see like kind of basically black protagonists on a TV show, because that's not it. Fucking look at me. I'm not the one to talk here about this. I'll let people who watch that express that themselves. You know, because visibility is important. You want to see you on the TV. You know what I mean?
and
Like
hence,
what?
hence the enjoyment to drop it.
Yeah,
Everyone's at ready to play, and
exactly.
to a certain extent, pro wrestling.
Yeah, but with Steptoe and Son, well, like that's an immediately odd couple thing as well, because that's a father and son. They should you think they have some like things in common, but they really don't. And that's a very British concept as well, is the fact that like ultimately the British writers are like going like are like some British writers are making a show and going, why didn't my father love me? and here's why. Here's 50 why. Oh, look, I got 30 episodes of comedy out of it. That's grand. That will work out that way, you know. And like Roy Clark, like wrote all those like episodes of Last of Summer Wine basically because he was a lonely bastard. Like he just basically made his own friends out of a sitcom. It's like that works. Like it comes from a like all writing comes from a certain like point of psychology and like a need or an urge for something, and and eventually want if they're able to kind of like harness that for good or evil depending on the project, you know, that's what breeds out the comedy is the fact that you are
Wow,
like you're making humor out of it, you know.
is that the is that the fucking the crux of it all? British comedy is this is what the fuck is wrong with me, and American comedy is look how great I am.
American is definitely more like Americans corner the market when it comes to aspirational projects. Like every American sitcom is in a massive fucking house. Everyone has a successful job. Everyone's doing well, and yet they're still a little bit fucked up. Or what they've done is they've normalized how awful they are and made it into a joke. Whereas whereas the British side works in the opposite way, where they'll take something that's like has a realistic base and then makes it surrealist, like Mr. Bean. Mr. Bean is the most surrealist comedy you've ever seen
Mm, yeah.
because it's played completely straight. Like it doesn't actually feel like a surrealist comedy in the same way. Like what's an American surrealist comedy? Like Penn and Teller, maybe that's pretty quite surrealist, isn't it? But like they start off on a surrealist tone. You know what you're getting into when they start like being
I mean,
themselves. You know,
Mr. Bean versus Jackass. Let's go.
yeah, yeah.
Eric
You know what I mean?
Eric
Like,
Eric Andre interviews Mr. Bean. Can we get that
yeah.
going?
You know, actually, Eric Andre's a great shout there, but like again, he's a character. So like he has that. I think Americans have copped on that like you can do whatever you want with like an Alan Partridge style mask. You know, like kind of way. Like, I would put like Tim Robinson, for instance, in the same bracket as Steve Coogan, because he knows with his sketch show he can be whatever kind of like awful person he can be because he's got the shield of so this is a character I've written. So like once like the what was that sketch he wrote with Paying It Forward, the one that had Damien Sandow in it. That's a fucking hilarious sketch, but it's also a very American sketch. That doesn't translate across the states there
Yeah.
across Europe because like what the fuck is this pay it forward shit you're talking about? Just
Yeah.
pay your own stuff. Why are you being weird like this? Why are you tipping
Yeah.
everything? What's fucking wrong with you? You know, what's
Only,
wrong with
only,
the Americans?
I only saw someone talking about that the other day, and they were like, "Oh, I broke the chain. I broke the Starbucks pay it forward chain," and I went, "I don't actually understand most of those words mean in the
Yeah,
context you've just said them." Oh, the
none
person
of
ahead of you
it.
wanted to pay for your. I if it fucking start they whatever podcast or whatever I was listening to figured out how to stop it instantly. That's
Mm,
grand. I'm just going to tip you the amount I would have paid. The end.
yeah.
I'm done. I'm not dealing with this shit. Fuck off.
But again, that's also the kind of that's the real kind of fake uh, verisimilitude of it, isn't it? It's a case that it's like, oh, if I do this is my kind of good karma for today, rather than actually just being a nice person,
And,
you know?
and by the right mechanisms of karma, you cannot create it.
Yeah,
Cynical.
exactly. You can't just fucking manufacture it, you know? It's like,
That's the yeah, you can't help others without helping yourself. Avenue Q.
yeah,
Oddly enough, an American production, but does have a career like South Park crossed over very well. South Park was something that really infatuated me, and it's
mm,
inherently American. But the lads are mental. There was something. There was something my ma had coined. Do you know the Game Grumps?
yes.
Have you seen their live action 10-minute Power Hour?
No, I haven't actually. No.
Very good. Very
Okay.
good. Very silly. Very chaotic. Yeah, I like it. And it was because of that Sarah actually got into them and their Let's Plays.
Mm,
Fucking, it's like saying you got into the Terminator series because you liked Arnold Schwarzenegger's political policies.
yeah.
It's the wrong way to approach it.
Long way around, yeah.
Yeah,
Whereas like you just know Eager Actor from the Awesome
yeah.
series or something.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but I was super. Metal Gear. Ah. There is something in me. I was watching it and I was visiting my mum. We were staying with my mum, And I said, Ma, can I show you this? I've really been watching a lot of this recently. Can I show it to you? And she went, oh, fucking I may as well. It's a half an hour. I'm not going to ruin my day. And I put it
Mhm.
on. And she went, Jesus, they're the first Americans I've ever seen in my life who don't mind having a bit of crack.
Yeah.
That's that in regardless of British humor and you know, like they banter, but there's something just people working together to have a bit of crack, to have a bit of fun, and everyone is in on the fucking system. Everyone's in on it. Whereas, I think for a while, there's been a you and a me with American comedy, whereas British and Irish comedy is us. It's collective.
Yeah. That's a good point, actually. There's
It's
a lot more solo projects, isn't there, in America?
It's communal.
Yeah.
British and Irish comedy is, aren't we all? Aren't we? Isn't it us? Us versus America, which is them.
Mm.
Finger point versus this. Dry your nails. Be a judgmental cunt. Dry your nails. Be a judgmental cunt.
But it's also the fact that you're making yourself, you yourself are the reasons for the watch, in a sense where like it's a case of like you know how many like comedians get like, you know, sitcoms to their name and stuff like that. It's like there's no British equivalent to that. Like James Corden doesn't get a show to himself. Do you know why? Because it'd be fucking awful. The only one I could think of that got their own show would have been Miranda Hart, and like again, like that's like there wasn't any longevity in it. Like you got a couple of, actually you can probably throw in outnumbered there. That's very very close to the Hugh Dennis like kind of
you know had his own show and his own sketch show. Bill Bailey.
Good point. Actually, I forgot about Bill Bailey.
Is it Bill Bailey? I watched it through nefarious means.
Yeah.
I adored it.
Do you know what the difference is, right? The difference is that like everyone gets their own show that they are being the chief writer of. So like Sean Locke had his own comedy, which was I can't remember. It wasn't Bottom. There was something similar to that. But it was something like that. Really good comedy, but it was his own work. Like he has that. That's his kind of thing. It wasn't just called the Sean Locke Show because that wouldn't sell. It has to be an actual show. And you you see the show, you see the premise, and you go, who's writing that? Oh, it's Sean Locke. I like him. I write that. It's like the British are like, it's like that audience is willing to kind of give it a look and see. Mac has his own show, not on out. You know,
there's two things. One, it's where are you pointing the finger? Typically, UK and Irish will point the finger at themselves.
Yes.
And typically, an American comedian will point outwards and say you versus me. And not in the ego sense, and actually I am the subject matter versus you being the subject matter, them being the subject matter, community versus judgment. And then you have the two major talent spotting mechanisms of comedy is Montreal and Edinburgh.
Yes.
Edinburgh by design, tighter rooms, smaller rooms, more intimate, whereas Montreal bigger.
Yeah.
It's quite literally you didn't have the Comedy Central Edinburgh Fringe. It never happened. You had jonglers for a while.
Yeah.
But you never had Comedy Central go fuck any network hasn't commodified Edinburgh.
Yeah.
And all of them, most of them are fucking born out of college fucking sketch troops.
Yeah, but there's also that's also they also know like that's like Edinburgh is almost, again, it's that kind of safety net of saying like if you're in the Fringe Festival and your routine doesn't work, it's a good thing no one noticed because it's in Edinburgh. But if that's on TV and that's on YouTube over and over again, you're kind of you fail at the first hurdle as a comedian, whereas you could realistically maybe get away with it after a while because like you've worked on your craft after you fucked up the first time. Because when you ask any comedian who's on the Fringe Festival for the first and second time, they probably have fucked up their first routine, but that's fine. That's how you learn, you know. Whereas like you could be given a platform really quickly because you befriended a network executive or a producer in the States, and if that didn't work, then you're fucked.
Oh, that even by right has me thinking about the distribution methods as well. Whereas
Netflix now is the big thing as well.
Whereas the height of, and traditionally the American network system versus the British network system is inherently fucking unbelievably diametrically opposed to each other because you had
Yeah,
Channel 4 and the BB fucking C
yeah.
versus American fucking network television. Holy
Mm.
fuck.
Cable as well. At least if
Like,
you get like even like a network and a cable is like there's is like a chocolate apples and oranges thing as well. You know?
wow. You didn't have to advertise on BBC, so you just had to keep them there for the content's sake. Realistically, for anything a private broadcasting had everything to do with keeping them there for the ads
Oh no,
and
Fin,
keeping you.
Finney's having trouble.
Oh,
Here comes the
oh,
payoff.
oh. He's gonna do the spinneroonie. Oh, it's Shrek. Oh, right. So
Somebody once told me.
that's how they got the models for the new Shrek film. Oh, great.
Yeah. We have a zombie Finlay.
Did the Undertaker just possess a member of New School? It looks like
The least fucking new thing I've ever seen in my life. He's actually a fucking zombie Belfast man. At least he,
It's,
you know
the
what,
Cranberry
Jonathan?
song now makes so much more sense.
At least he's fucking green.
That's true. Yeah. That's why I picked him. It just felt right. Sorry to cut you off there, but I knew you needed to see Zombie Finley for yourself.
Yeah. Oh no, no. You know, I and I love you for it. But that has me actually thinking about the distribution methods of comedy and how
Mm.
Netflix in itself is Netflix has revolutionized in a way where they take that exact approach of, well, we want you to do the show for us.
Yeah.
More recently, I've seen Shane Gillis's Tires, entirely self-funded and then
Mm.
commissioned for a second season by Netflix. It's like
Yeah.
fascinating that people are self-funding, self-producing, and then
Mm.
Netflix just sweeps in at the end to go, we'll just put the stamp on it there for you.
Yeah.
And then versus BBC, if you got a show on the BBC, you would need to be so unbelievably well-mannered and liked and easy because
Mm.
you're talking to the entire country.
Yeah, exactly.
And to an extent you were with American television, but the difference being The Simpsons everyone watched because
Mm.
you are brought to it
Yeah.
versus British stuff. Like, can you honestly remember why you ever sat down the first time to watch The Royal Family? No, because it was just on.
It was just on. Yeah, exactly.
It was just there. I never wanted to watch it Only Fools and Horses. Never particularly will watch it again either. It never
Mm.
clicked with me. Maybe I'll sit down and find it to be
It's
the best thing I've ever
there's
seen.
very like English humor and very little known. It's very Cockney humor as well.
But that's
like
where,
yeah, I
but
relate to
that's
it really.
but that's where that works for people because you're either laughing at them or laughing with them. But either way, you're laughing, and you're not allowed. It isn't really the way of an American comedian to both
Mm.
laugh with and at, bar Dave Chappelle, which is why he inherently garners more aplomb than most because he'll
Yeah.
do both. You can laugh at me and I'll try and make jokes about you as well. While he simultaneously ruins the audio equipment by slapping it against his own leg. Does me fucking head in. Ha 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 ha. Stop hitting the fucking microphone. The poor sound, man. Fuck's sake.
So someone's got headphones to that, you bitch.
Fucking can't believe it. But therein lies the difference. I don't find Dave Chappelle even remotely funny. I find him
Nope.
entertaining. I find him engaging. He's a fucking amazing orator, fantastic writer. But I just sit back and go, that's pretty good.
You see, I like that with certain people as well. I think some people can have good material without necessarily being a good comedian. Like Ricky Gervais is that kind of weird contradiction for that for me, where I think some of his works are tremendous, like The Office and some of his works like in that most recent time. And there'll be certain things where I will agree to a person on Ricky Gervais, and there'll be certain points I go, he's a fucking knob, I can't stand him. Like, I think his stand-up routine is awful. Like, I think he's like genuinely one of the weakest stand-ups I've seen in a long time. But he's a very good comedy writer, and I think like it's that kind of weird thing where like I think some people are just very good at writing characters, and And I think that's why when you were talking about the British and American side, like I don't think I don't know if there's ever been a documentary done on it, because I'd love to see it. Is like what comedy is like in every country, because like if we're playing top trumps here, like normally like cultural influence, America and Britain and to a certain degree other countries have like saturated other markets in a sense, whereas I'm sure distinctively European sense of humor, but what is that humor? Like what is like comedy in say Poland compared to Germany or France? You know,
from what like you see people touring around and they like look at interviews and podcasts of people talking about it, and it's all inherently. It's all it's all repeated. Such is the pattern of narrative across cultures, that some of them might still be in the "please take my wife" era, and other ones. There was only recently in India there was a comedy club was destroyed because a comedian spoke out against the in power government.
Yeah.
It's like that's fucking fascinating. Where okay, well comedy that the way comedy is seen in any specific society is indicative of the cultural norms at the time. So what will be fucking hilarious today will be absolutely fucking taboo tomorrow, or possibly even illegal.
Yeah, fair point.
And I'm seeing a lovely pendulum swing for me.
Sorry, I just thought you're laughing because Snitsky was on screen there.
Very much so. If ever a man deserved to kick a baby, can we send Snitsky back to fucking get rid of some people? He'd be a great lad. Snitsky in time. It wasn't their fault. It was never their fault.
To be fair, it's better than my other project, which is making a gritty detective in San Francisco and call it Snitsky and Hutch. So you know it works out either way.
Lovely. There was you can team him up. You can team him up with Pete Dunne, and it could be Snitsky and Butch.
Snitsky and Butch, yeah.
There's a snapped finger coming. There's a snapped finger coming my way. I can feel it. He's like Beetlejuice.
Either way, you're having a really bad night.
Oh wow, both of them do deal with the digits as well. I tell you, that has legs.
Legs or feet, whichever one really. There's a bit of common ground between the two of them.
There was something.
Pete Dunne steals a few shoes in his time now as well, so he's got something else going on there. You know,
there's something in that you can. I'm fascinated by the way Bill Burr is at the moment. He's gone very anti-billionaire, very anti-establishment, and he was always like, he has rode the wave of his own personal grievances and annoyances to the point now where he's actively just actually become a modern fucking satirist, and he has legitimately become a voice of the moment, which I never thought I'd think of a Bill Burr. I thought he was this ranty man, but he's actively put his crosshairs onto people, and it's fascinating seeing the people who are like, I like that Bill Burr guy, he's funny, the way he talks about the way he doesn't like his wife, and I don't like the way he talks about my president. It's like, well, hang on a minute, it's the same jokes, lads.
Yeah, exactly.
The exact same stuff.